Want to get through this?
In the film, Charlize Theron's character, Imperator Furiosa, leads a group of fugitives across a vast desert in search of sanctuary. It's a landscape the star is now very familiar with.
The surroundings in which you shot this Mad Max movie, I mean, those locations were harsh. How did you deal with them?
The locations were harsh, but they were really great. They were really helpful in informing, us as actors. Just as it was a constant reminder of the world that we were in. I think you can kind of set your mind to anything for 3 or 4 months, but this was like 6 months later. And I love Namibia, and I have very, very strong emotional connections to Namibia, and it is one of the most beautiful places that you could ever go to. But like day 138, I was like, I think I've had enough of the desert and I need to go home.
As the world fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to know who was more crazy. Me or everyone else.
Actor Tom Hardy and his stunt double Jacob Tomuri play the title role of a man in search of peace after the loss of his wife and child.
So, Mad Max.
And Mad Max.
And Mad Max Extension
Mini
1.
Max.
Mini Max. Were you guys Mad Max fans before you took on this movie?
Absolutely. Yeah, no. Not really. Actually, no. That sounds really blasphemous, but I think I was aware of Mad Max totally growing up, but it came out the year that I was born. So the movies that I grew up on were sort of Platoon and the Vietnam movies that came out in that generation. So I was late to the Mad Max party, and once I'd got asked by George to get involved with it, then I started to watch them, and then I became a fan.
The original 3 movies of the 70s and 80s made their Australian writer-director an industry legend.
George Miller, the mastermind, congratulations on an epic movie. How did you even conceptualize for such a movie?
Well, I wanted it to be a movie. I love going into the cinema and be with strangers and sitting back and really going on for a ride. And if you're going to attempt another Mad Max movie after 30 years, you better try to deliver that. So we wanted to make it real world, real vehicles, real action, and I wanted to do a continuous chase, and where you pick up the story as you go. And yeah, 120 days with a South African crew in large part in Namibia. We shot in Cape Town in the studios there, and it was great to see how the Australians and the South Africans worked together. People worked hard and brought all their skills to bear, and that's what we ended up with.
George Miller speaks so highly of you and the South African crew and the work ethic that he was able to enjoy with you guys. What was it like for you working with him? Because certainly he's a man of legendary stuff.
He's a real visionary, and it's nothing but a joy to be around that constantly, very consistently through every single day. Working with somebody who does not believe in compromise or anything mediocre. And that's always nice. You don't want to feel like the only guy that's investing all your time and energy in perfecting everything, and then surrounded by people who are just like, all right, are we going home? But the crew was amazing, and I do agree, it's maybe very biased for me to say, but there is a work ethic and just a personality that South Africans have that just is like, it's a no holds barred, and it's really nice to be around when you're making a difficult movie like this.
In such an outlandish filmscape, you must be over the top to stand out. And Nicholas Holt's character out-crazies everybody.
What a lovely day!
So, War Boy,
Yeah.
how much fun was that movie to make?
It was an incredible amount of fun. I mean, it's kind of every boy's dream come true in many ways. You get to go to this very exciting country and environment in Namibia, and then you get thrown into. I mean, I'm a bit of a petrol head anyway, gearhead, so just being around the bikes and cars and trucks on this set was very exciting.
Listen, you were living one of my dreams, to drive that war rig as well. I could just imagine.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. My character, Nux, he's grown up, basically been, like a war pup and then a mechanic, and now he's managed to work up to being
one of the fastest pursuit drivers. And then on this day, he's trying to go out in glory. He's kind of at the end of his life anyway, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna go out with a bang. But then the kind of path of his life takes a few twists and turns, and he ends up doing a few different things. But yeah, I get to drive some really cool vehicles, and it's exciting.
As audiences tire of purely computer-generated effects, Jacob Tamuri's stunts are a thrilling, real-action alternative.
Jacob, the stunt work was unbelievable. It was action non-stop, physical action as well.
Yeah.
Dream job for you.
Yeah, dream job for any stuntman. I'm not going to lie, it was exhausting. There were grueling days. It was 6 days a week for 6 months, and if you weren't shooting a stunt on main unit, you're off onto the second unit, and then once you were done there, if they didn't need you on main unit, you're rehearsing another stunt.
Or holding an umbrella over my head.
Or holding an umbrella,
and I was getting hot.
And he was hassling me about things all day.
Counting bruises, you guys must have been so badly scarred and bruised.
Yeah, but he would never admit to what actually happened to him, and I'm not going to tell you, because otherwise other people out there will look at where he's injured and he's not. Whereas me, totally, I'm a little bit of a baby, and I did break my nose rather eloquently, didn't I, in front of everybody?
He did, yeah.
Very slowly.
Very slow.
Very
Most
slow.
slow broken nose you've ever seen.
Yeah.
George Miller designed the action in storyboard form before writing a word of the screenplay, so it can be understood anywhere without the use of subtitles, if you're old enough to watch it.
When Jackson is of an age where he can watch his mom in this
When
movie.
he's 52.
It's great to say, my mom was, pardon my language, a bad.
Yeah. Well, the posters are everywhere now, so when I drive him to school, he hasn't recognized me in the poster, but we pulled up to one pretty close, and he looked at the face, and I said, that's Mommy. And I said, and do you know that you were there when I made this movie? You made this movie with me. And then the next time he saw the poster, he was like, I made that movie. And I was like, not quite, but okay. He's like, yep, I made that movie. I was like, all right.
Fans will rejoice that Charlize's co-star, Tom Hardy, has revealed a further 3 sequels are planned. But for now, there's plenty to sink your teeth into. Mad Max Fury Road opens at cinemas nationwide tomorrow.